News Central now at this hour begins in Nigeria's capital, where the Senate has screened and confirmed the 7 newly nominated ministers. The nominees are Dr. Nentawe Yilwatda as Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction, Muhammadu Dingyadi as Minister of Labour and Employment, Bianca Odumegwu-Ojukwu as Minister of State, Foreign Affairs, and Dr. Jumoke Oduwole as Minister of Industry, Trade and Development. Others are Idi Muktar Maiha as Minister of Livestock Development, Right Honorable Yusuf Ata as Minister of State, Housing, and Dr. Suwaiba Said Ahmad as Minister of State for Education. Let's also tell you that All Progressives Congress gained another seat in the House of Representatives on Wednesday as Abubakar Gumi defected from the People's Democratic Party. Speaker Tajuddin Abbas announced the defection, reading Gumi's letter in plenary. Gumi, representing Zamfara State's Gumi Bukium Federal Constituency, cited internal crisis and a lack of structure in the PDP in his constituency, noting there are two conflicting PDP chairmen. Minority Leader Kingsley Chinda raised a constitutional point of order, reminding the Speaker of rules regarding party defections, but the defection proceeded with applause from APC members. This shift follows Gumi's recent appointment as chairman of the House Committee on the Northwest Development Commission. We stay in Nigeria's capital, Abuja, where the Federal High Court has issued an order blocking the Central Bank of Nigeria from releasing monthly financial allocations to the Rivers State government. Delivering the ruling on Wednesday, Justice Joyce Abdulmalik declared that Governor Siminalayi Fubara's presentation of the 2024 budget before a 4-member Rivers House of Assembly violated constitutional requirements. Justice Abdulmalik described the ongoing receipt and distribution of funds by the governor as a constitutional somersault, an aberration that cannot continue. The judge found that Governor Fubara's actions in implementing an improperly approved budget amounted to a serious violation of the 1999 Constitution, which he is sworn to uphold. As part of the ruling, the court has also barred the Central Bank of Nigeria, the Accountant General of the Federation, and financial institutions, including banks, from granting the Rivers State governor access to funds from the Consolidated Revenue and Federation accounts. To discuss this, we are joined by a lawyer and public affairs analyst, Tobo Seruwaja. Mr. Seruwaja, it's nice to have you around on the news. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome, Lekan, and it's also nice to have you here too.
Okay, so let's understand the specific constitutional provision that this justice, so to speak, is placing his premise on in terms of the violation of the presentation of the 2024 budget by Siminalayi Fubara. Let's even start from there and have an understanding.
Okay, you know, the law, the beauty about the law is that why the law is different from any other discipline or any other subject is that it's dynamic in nature. So what makes a law the law is that what may be law today may become something else tomorrow, and what may not be law today may become law tomorrow. So let's look at the scenario that played out at Rivers State. One, at that particular point in time, we have conflicting orders from the courts. We have an order from the court upholding the 4-member at that particular point in time to be the valid member of the State House of Assembly, and the others were placed under suspension or their seats were temporarily declared vacant as at when the governor presented the budget. Then 2, there is another order from the Federal High Court in Abuja that stated that, well, these are the valid members, the suspended members are the valid members of House of Assembly. So you can see the chaos created by the judiciary in this particular regard. And take it or leave it, the difference between the military government and democratically elected government is when the judiciary becomes the spirit of the law, not the spirit of an individual. So you could see that there is somebody playing the drum somewhere or people playing the drum somewhere. That is that. So as at that particular point in time, the budget presentation by virtue of the order of the court is valid. But you now see that when the Federal High Court, which some of us had reasons to raise concern, because if you look at the Constitution, it derogated powers to each of the courts. And the Federal High Court, in its own power, has stated in section 251, subsection 1, stated clearly the powers of the Federal High Court. Okay. So we don't really know to the extent if the Federal High Court has the power to meddle into the affairs or conflict between the executive and the legislative arm of government. We don't know, but you see, the law changes every time. Okay. Then the Federal High Court went further to say, well, these people are valid members of the State of Assembly, and the budget that was earlier presented should be represented into the State House of Assembly. So but that is just what it is for now. And it has really created a lot of legal concern and legal lacuna, and it also calls for legal research on what is going on in Rivers State now.
Well, so some people are actually saying that, you know, the quorum for Legislative House is 1/3. That's what the Constitution says. And we had 4 members to whom this particular budget was presented, and 1/3 of 4 is about 1. So they are saying that based on that, that's what the governor did in terms of his presentation was valid. I don't know if that holds waters.
Well, you see, lawyers, ours is to say our opinion, but the court is to say what the law is. When you say the 1/3, based on my personal opinion, is based on the valid member at that particular point in time. It didn't say 1/3 of the total state, it didn't say 1/3 of the constituencies that make up the House of Assembly. It said 1/3 of the member of the State House of Assembly. So there are two different things, there are two distinct things there. Okay. If you said, okay, 1/3 of the constituencies, several constituencies makes up the State House of Assembly. So if you said 1/3 of the constituencies that make up the Rivers State House of Assembly is another thing. So the other thing is 1/10 of the members, and at that particular point in time is who are the members of the Rivers State House of Assembly. Then let's not also forget, let's look at it carefully. Now the question we should be asking when this judgment is made is, does the Federal High Court actually has the power to make such kind of order? That should be an issue of concern to every legal researcher or legal participant or spectator.
Okay, well, I understand your point, but then what are the legal options now available to the Rivers State government, probably to challenge the court's decision? Is there a possibility whereby they could, you know, file an appeal to either seek a stay of execution on the order, or probably something that can help them stay on the course?
You see that God in his infinite mercy has given man the ability to seek for alternative when the people or when an institution entrusted his power, because the judges are like the representative of God here on earth. So, and what is the option given to the Rivers State government is the Court of Appeal. Let's see what the Court of Appeal is going to say on this matter, and let's see what, after the Court of Appeal, the Supreme Court. But I believe for the interest of justice, I believe they have, because if you look at it carefully, when it comes to issue of the consolidated revenue, which the Rivers State House of Assembly is after, or the Federal High Court is stopping the CBN, the Accountant General, you discover that these are previews and controls within the states, the National House of Assembly. Within the previews and control of the National House of Assembly. Okay. So what happens is that when the money hits the Rivers State House of Assembly, that is where the Rivers State House of Assembly, true, I believe, with my own opinion, with the Rivers State High Court that has enormous powers, that is not restricted to some extent, to question whether such money can leave the account by virtue of Section 80 of the Constitution, Section 120 of the Constitution. No. So that power is within them. But for issue of the consolidated money that is shared between the federal, the state, and the government is within the preview of the National House of Assembly to determine if that money should leave or not. Okay, so
finally, before I let you go, of course, one would think that it would be able to generate finance for himself pending the time the issue around allocations coming to Rivers State will be resolved. But, you know, the governor has come out to say that that is the list of his worries, that he will continue to disburse monies for contractors, to contractors for the works needed in the state. Will that be in contempt of court?
Well, first of all, is to see that if the matter is appeal, it becomes, if there's an appeal and a stay of proceeding, it will not become a content. Then another thing again is that whether, if you look at the judgment thus far, or the report, the summary of the judgment, did not also stop the Rivers State government from money generated. Only two banks were mentioned in this outside the CBN and the Office of the Accountant General. So if the state generates funds outside those institutions called, I think they are within the ambit of the law to work on it, pending when the Apex Court, which is the Supreme Court, we speak on this particular matter. But it's really interesting, and I think legal spectators and democratic lovers are actually looking at Rivers State as a mirror for proper definition of the federal structure we are having in Nigeria.
Okay, well, according to reports, it's been said that only Lagos State and Rivers State has the financial wherewithal via their IGR to actually run their governments without federal allocation. So we'll see how long it will be able to hold forth in that line. Thank you so much to Yilwatda for sharing your thoughts with us.
You're welcome, Lekan.
In the meantime, Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara has reacted to the court ruling on Rivers allocation. He says concerns over the Federal High Court decision that restricted the release of state allocations is the least of his problems. Governor Fubara stated during a special Thanksgiving service organized by the state government to celebrate his administration's resilience amid escalating political crisis, which began with the arson attack on the State House of Assembly complex exactly 1 year ago. Governor Fubara assured that despite the court order, his administration would continue payment to contractors and ensure worker salaries are disbursed from tomorrow. Away from Rivers State, let's take you to Abia State, where the government and the organized labor have signed the agreement on the implementation of the new national minimum wage of 70,000 naira, as well as the consequential adjustments. Speaking during the occasion of signing the agreement at the Government House in Umuahia, both parties acknowledged the efforts made to ensure that the government fulfills its own part of the bargain. Governor Alex Oti, who was represented by his Chief of Staff, Caleb Ajaba, assures of the immediate commencement of payment this October. Also, the Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Ferdinand Ikioma, says government is not able to pay beyond the benchmark because of the number of workforce the state has, as well as the burden of arrears hanging on its neck. The chairman of the Nigeria Labour Congress, Ogbonnaya Okoro, and chairman of the Trade Union Congress, Ihechi Enogwe, with the chairman of the Joint Negotiating Council, Ekere Uwadi, confirmed the agreement, expressing satisfaction that it is negotiated. The head of service, Queen Obioma, pledged the workers' commitment and motivation henceforth. Now, let's tell you that Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu has officially launched the 2025 Armed Forces Remembrance Day emblem in Abuja. The event, which took place at the council chamber of the Aso Rock Villa, said President Tinubu commended the nation's armed forces for their efforts in ensuring peace and security in the country. He pledged to prioritize the welfare of servicemen and women as they continue to ensure the protection of Nigeria's territorial integrity and the safety of citizens.
Yes, the challenges are still there, but you are the first line of defense for this country. Thank you for your patriotic commitment to Nigerian unity, stability, and progress. We take today to remember our fallen heroes who had sacrificed their lives, men and women, for the unity, stability, and progress of this country. We are committed to their values, their principle, their belief, and the unity and stability of this country as we pass on to the next generation a banner without stain.
A break will do here on the news. When we return, constituents of Aba condemn lawmakers' actions in viral video. We will bring you more details in a bit. Don't go away. Many thanks for staying with us. Let's bring you some updates on the power outage that we've seen in northern Nigeria, where the transmission company of Nigeria says it is working to restore electricity to the region after a week-long blackout. Managing Director Sule Abdulaziz explained that vandalism and insecurity hindered initial repair efforts, causing the collapse of multiple towers along the Shiroro-Mando Line 1. 17 northern states have been affected, with some experiencing total darkness for 2 weeks. TCN has deployed engineers to complete restoration and aims to distribute 500 to 600 megawatts to the region by Sunday. President Bola Tinubu has directed CCN to expedite repairs and provided security support through the National Security Advisor. Meanwhile, Deputy Senate President Barrow Jibrin has confirmed that security agencies are set to take decisive action against insurgents responsible for damaging critical power infrastructure in northern Nigeria. This development comes after the Transmission Company of Nigeria announced that the ongoing repairs to the damaged transmission line that led to the blackout in the region will be completed by Sunday, November 3, 2024. The outages are largely attributed to the vandalism of transmission lines, including the Kishiroro-Kaduna line. Speaking on the Senate floor on Tuesday, Senator Jibrin assured lawmakers that the Office of the National Security Advisor is fully engaged with the issue.
The leadership of Senate is concerned about the lack of electricity supply in the northern part of this country. This is happening due to the fact that the electricity tower coming from within the area that electricity is taken to the northern part of the country was vandalized by terrorists. And it has become a problem for the TCN staff to get to where this occurred, to get it restored, because that area is being occupied by terrorists. Now, what has been done is, what is being done now is that the security agencies are putting their hands together to get to that spot and try to eradicate or take away the threat that is being there for quite a while.
Now to judicial matters. Kuje Magistrates Court has granted bail to a House of Representatives member for Aba North and South, Alex Ikwecheghi, in the sum of 500,000 naira and 2 sureties in like sum. In a brief ruling, the presiding judge, Abubakar Said, said the sureties must reside within the court's jurisdiction and provide utility bills as proof of evidence. The charges brought against him include abuse of office, assault and threat to life. He pleaded not guilty when it was read to him. His counsel thereafter made an oral application for bail, which was granted by the court. The case has been adjourned to November 8, 2024. Ikecheghi was arraigned for allegedly assaulting an e-hailing cab driver, Stephen Abuwatsea, in Abuja. Meanwhile, the Nigerian police force says that it has instigated a suit against embattled lawmaker Alex Ikwecheghi, who allegedly assaulted an e-hailing cab driver, Stephen Abuwatsea, at his Maitama residence in the Federal Capital Territory. The force public relations officer, Olumuyiwa Adejobi, made this known to newsmen during the parade of some suspects in Abuja. Adejobi says that the force headquarters has taken over the case from the FCT Police Command and that all relevant court papers have been submitted.
The Special Investigation Unit of Nigerian Police Force has taken over the case from the Federal Capital Territory Police Command. And the SFU has packaged the case file, prepared the charge, and they have taken the Honorable to court for the offense of assault committed.
Still on the matter, constituents of Aba North and South Federal Constituency have unequivocally condemned the comments made by the representative Alex Ikwecheghi in a video. In the recent video, which has since gone viral, Alex was seen cursing, threatening and assaulting a man said to be a e-hailing driver who came to make a delivery to him. News Central's Jumoke Oduwole interviewed a cross-section of the Aba constituents on this and now reports.
I'm a member of the House of Reps. Tell them I slapped you.
Okay.
Call the Inspector General of Police. Call him, let him come.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Record me very well. Record me very well.
All right.
The internet was agog with this video made by an alleged boat driver who had gone to make some deliveries to the member representing Aba North and South Federal Constituency, Alex Ikwecheghi, in his official residence in Abuja. In the said clip, the legislator was seen boasting about his capacity and capabilities.
Can you please insult me? I'm not going to call my policemen to beat you up. I will beat you up. I will show you that I'm a big brother to you. I will slap the hell out of you and I will lie you down, lock you in my generator house. How dare you?
This has elicited reactions and comments from the citizens of Nigeria, especially his constituents, who are shocked at the character he exhibited.
It's really bad, and I heard he said he will lock him up in his generator house. It's hurting. It's disheartening. It's not good.
I feel sorry for that boy because he wouldn't have acted that way.
I feel ashamed and I feel disappointed as a public officer. And most especially as a representative of my own constituents.
Alex Ikwecheghi, who boasted about his clout in the video, has now made a public apology over his vituperations, asking for forgiveness.
I apologize to all Nigerians. Regardless of the provocation, there should be no reason why I should react in that form.
It is for this reason that his constituents who feel sorry for him are appealing to Nigerians to accept his apologies.
But I'm so happy that he has apologized for that. That's my job. We sin against God, we apologize, and God forgive us. If he apologizes, he needs forgiveness.
Abba liked him and trust him, and they never thought he was going to behave that way. I beg that they're supposed to give him another chance.
Some, however, say his apology is politically motivated, suggesting sanctions for his outburst.
He should actually be dealt with. He apologized. That's because it has been reviewed.
Whether or not his apologies are accepted, he will definitely make more apologies in the near future on this singular act to survive politically.
He knows fully well that Nigerians, especially in Abia State here, he can't actually win anything.
What lurks in the secret for Alex Ikwecheghi as a politician will be seen in the future from his people who he represents. In Omaha for News Central, I am Jumoke Oduwole.
To security matters now, the Nigeria Police Force is set to commence the use of West African Police Information System, also known as the WAPIS project. This is as the police with partner security agencies from across the sub-region converged on the nation's capital, Abuja, to review efforts aimed at tackling local and transnational crimes. News Central's Emmanuel Bagudu reports.
Implemented by the Interpol with funding from the European Union, the West African Police Information System is expected to improve the ability of law enforcement agencies in West Africa to combat local and transnational crimes. It seeks to centralize, digitalize, and share police information, allowing the police to access information from their country and other countries in the sub-region. Nigeria's police chief says that the platform is auspicious and an example of successful interagency collaboration.
There is no information that is small. You may have one piece and the other agency may have the other piece. If I can give us a very simple example of what had happened that time, the Chibok girls issue, is lack of information sharing. because actually the perpetrators went there and asked questions, including a shoe shiner that was there. Additionally, again, lack of capacity from letting the student know, or any other agency, that if there is any issue, like now as we are here, let's say there is any problem, there is any challenge, where is the muster point? Where are we supposed to gather? Where do we stay? Where do we stand? Most of the girls escaped, but unfortunately there is no particular muster point. So they kept on coming back to the same point, and the perpetrators now were guiding them and putting them inside the vehicle. So it's a great lesson that we have used, and I think is working for us now.
Nigeria's Minister of Police Affairs and the representative of the Federal Road Safety Corps say that the project will improve the nation's security and safety.
Signing a memorandum of understanding with Interpol to reaffirm the commitment of the country to work together with other countries for the greater good of the region and the world. Establishment of National Criminal Data Fusion Center for the Nigerian Police Force, and automation of police specialized services with unique reference numbers that can be validated globally. This collaboration is paramount in today's world, where challenges often transcend the boundaries of individual organizations.
This achievement demonstrates Nigeria's unwavering commitment to regional security and showcases Nigeria's efforts to modernize law enforcement.
Security agencies in attendance say they will be hoping to foster greater cooperation within the next 3 days to effectively tackle transnational crimes. In Abuja, for News Central, I am Emmanuel Bagudu.
The news continues in West Africa, where medical charity MSF on Wednesday said it had suspended its activities in the central Malian town of Nampala following an attack on its staff and health workers in the area plagued by violence. Mali has for more than a decade been ravaged by jihadists and other armed groups, with the center of the West African country becoming a hotbed of violence since 2015. The Malian army and the Russian paramilitary group have for months undertaken operations against armed jihadist groups in the area, including the Al-Qaeda-linked Katiba Messina. In a statement, MSF said its team and community health workers on the outskirts of Nampala on October 14 being violently attacked and robbed by armed men who regularly carry out military operations in the area. Trade unions in Mali have suspended a strike planned by prison staff initially set to begin on Tuesday as they push for information on the whereabouts of 2 missing union members. The Judiciary Workers Union announced the suspension of after Justice Minister Muhammadu Kasugu promised increased efforts to secure the safe return of their 2 colleagues to their families. Commander Dauda Konate, head of the Prison Guards Union, and Famusa Fumba, a prison nurse in Bamako, have been missing since Friday. This development unfolds against a backdrop of political, security and economic challenges in Mali, worsened by a surge in jihadist violence since 2012. Since the military's rise to power in coups over the past few years, several dissidents have reportedly been detained and incommunicado before facing court or being released. We now head to East Africa, where a new militia group known as the Eastern Battalion in Sudan has announced the deployment of its fighters in the country's eastern region. This move, made public on Tuesday, reportedly aligns with Sudan's armed forces, which have been locked in a fierce battle against paramilitary groups for over 18 months. The conflict, which erupted in April 2023, pits Sudan's regular armed forces led by de facto leader Abdel Fattah al-Burhan against the Rapid Support Forces, a powerful paramilitary group led by former Deputy Mohamed Hamdan Daglo. The violence has claimed tens of thousands of lives and forced over 11 million people to flee, with more than 3 million crossing Sudan's borders, according to the International Organization for Migration. The emergence of the Eastern Battalion, among other militias reportedly trained in Eritrea, has raised concerns over the involvement of additional armed factions in this protracted and devastating conflict. Now, in a sharp escalation of diplomatic tensions, Somalia has ordered the expulsion of a senior Ethiopian diplomat amid growing strain between the East African neighbors. On Tuesday, Somalia's foreign ministry announced that Ali Mohammed Adan, holding the rank of Counselor 2 at the Ethiopian embassy, has been given 72 hours to leave the country. While no specific reasons were cited, the ministry statement noted that Adan had failed to respect the laws of the host nation and abstained from involvement in its internal affairs. This diplomatic move comes amid heightened friction since Ethiopia's January agreement to develop a port in Somaliland, a region seeking independence from Somalia. Additionally, Somalia plans to exclude Ethiopian troops from a new African Union peacekeeping force set for deployment on January 1, aimed at combating the Al-Shabaab insurgency. Today marks a significant milestone in Botswana's democracy as citizens haven't taken to the polls after months of rallies, debates and passionate campaign are stepping out to make their voices heard. Long queues started forming early this morning at various polling stations, and News Central's Bongani Siziba tells us more in this report.
A day to mark a significant milestone in the Botswana democracy. Long queues formed, citizens eager to put an X on the ballot. Notably is the youth who are taking charge. Many are expressing their desire for change. They want to see a Botswana that reflects their aspirations and hopes for the future.
For me, it's on the health sector. Our health sector has sort of deteriorated. We are hoping improvements on the health sector. We are hoping for another improvement on the education. I think our education system also needs to be looked at.
These voices signify a rising tide of political engagement among the youth, a clear message that they want to influence the future of their country. President Mokgweetsi Masisi arrived in his hometown in Mushupe village to cast his vote, urging citizens to participate in this democratic process. His presence symbolized the importance of every vote in shaping Botswana's future.
The voters, I want them to come out in large numbers and come and exercise their democratic right, which we have had since 1965, and will never stop.
The president also addressed the allegations concerning the independence of the Independent Electoral Commission.
We are confident about the independence of the IEC. You know, what is perceived as a lack of independence of IEC is really almost cosmetic. We have a parliamentary system and a protocol wherein the executive of the government presents budgets on behalf of everything else, the judiciary included.
Election observers have held the voting process in Botswana.
We would say that Botswana citizens have generally exhibited peaceful conduct during election. No campaign activities that we have noted, no violence that we have noted. Interactions are very civil, smooth, and considering these are people from different political parties that just come together to vote, no one wearing party regalia, citizens are taking the moment to embrace it.
Voting will close at around 8 p.m. tonight, after which the crucial task of counting the votes will commence. The nation waits with bated breath in Mushupe village in Botswana. For News Central, Bongani Siziba.
Now, News Central's Bongani Siziba joins us now to give us updates of the election exercise. Bongani, it's nice to have you join us and to intimate us with how the elections have gone down in Botswana. What more can you tell us in terms of the process and the voters' turnout?
Good morning, evening rather to you, Lekan. As you can see behind me, the polling stations are almost closing because the queues have died down We know that in the morning queues were very long, but at around 2, 3, as I was going around the polling stations, queues had died down. A lot of voters, I think they came in, they voted in the morning. But let me bring in the presiding officer here at one polling station just to tell us what has been going on around the country, especially the wards that she has been going around. Good evening, ma'am. Thank you for joining us. Could you just tell us in brief when you're going around your observations?
Good evening to your viewers. My name is Kumo Maruza. I'm the returning officer for Marapo Atutla South. The polling station, or my polling station, started on time. And as I was going around to check if there were major challenges, we did not encounter any challenges. We have 3 polling stations, and Philip Moshotla is the largest, which had many voters. In the morning, we had very long queues, but around 2:45, we had finished those long queues in all our polling districts. Thank you.
We understand that vote counting will be starting here at this polling station.
Yes, we are actually waiting for other polling districts to bring the ballot boxes so that we can start by verifying the boxes, the ballot boxes. Then we start counting them.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. Lekan, that was one of the presiding officers here, as we have heard from her that voting has just ended, but the counting in some wards that are around here in Gaborone, they'll be counting in one of the classrooms here at this school. So, and also we are AEC, just to tell us what has been going on around. We heard that the voting was free and fair, so it's back to you in the studio.
All right, thank you so much, Bongani Siziba, for sharing the details with us. We hope to get more details from you later on during the course of our other bulletins. Thank you. Away from the shores of Africa, we tell you that Vice President Kamala Harris delivered what her campaign has called a closing argument last night in Washington, D.C. at the spot former President Donald Trump spoke from shortly before the Capitol riot in January 2021. Donald Trump distanced himself from a comedian who called Puerto Rico a floating island of garbage at his rally, but did not personally apologize. For News Central, Afi Hagen has more.
Kamala Harris urged Americans to write the next chapter for their country and reject Donald Trump's chaos and division as she delivered a powerful closing argument to voters against the glowing backdrop of the White House. The Democratic vice president warned against Trump's lust for unchecked power as she addressed a mass rally at the site where her Republican rival riled up a mob before the deadly January 6, 2021 assault on the U.S. Capitol.
Donald Trump intends to use the United States military against American citizens who simply disagree with him. People he calls, quote, the enemy from within. America, this is not a candidate for president who is thinking about how to make your life better. This is someone who is unstable, obsessed with revenge, consumed with grievance, and out for unchecked power.
Some bad things. President Joe Biden came under fire for responding to the comments by appearing to call Trump supporters garbage, although he later said he was referring to the Republicans' rhetoric. Trump later rallied in blue-collar Allentown in Pennsylvania, perhaps the most crucial of the 7 battleground states that are expected to decide the election, and a city that is home to a large Puerto Rican community. Fears of a repeat of the chaos from 4 years ago hang heavy over this year's election, with Trump repeatedly indicating that he might again refuse to accept the result if he loses. For News Central, I'm Afia Hagan.
A bit of sports now. Neighboring West African countries, Togo and Benin Republic, will compete for honors and substantial cash prizes against 26 Nigerian teams at the first Senator Abiru Mixed Team Table Tennis Championships. The event kicks off on Thursday, October 31 at the Molade Okoya Thomas Hall of Teslim Balogun Stadium. Senator Abiru, through his media aide, Eniton Odukotun, praised the Nigeria Table Tennis Federation for their efforts in making the tournament a reality. The tournament will feature 28 teams divided into 8 groups of 3 or 4 teams each. The top 2 teams from each group will advance to the knockout stage. The finals are scheduled for Saturday, November 2. And that's all on the news at this hour. But before we go, we'll look at our top stories again. Senate screens and confirms 7 new ministerial nominees. Court orders CBN to withhold monthly allocations to Rivers State over constitutional violations. We also told you that medical charity MSF suspends work in central Malian town after violence. You can watch News Central live on DSTV, channel 422, Star Times, channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Lekan Onabanjo.